Hey guys, Michał here. If you are planning to visit the beautiful capital of Mallorca but don't have much time to explore, then this video is for you. I invite you to One Day in Palma de Mallorca. Let's start our visit to Palma from its symbol, Lassu Cathedral, located on the seafront. The construction of the temple began in 1301 and it was built for almost 300 years. Palma Cathedral is a typical example of Gothic architecture. From the outside, the building is decorated with figures of saints, gargoyles, pillars and arches. The first thing we'll see after entering the cathedral is the museum, which contains figures of saints, medieval paintings, liturgical objects, and relics of saints of the Catholic Church. Entering the cathedral, we will pass the Chapel of Pieta, decorated with 33 paintings and statues of martyrs important to the inhabitants of Mallorca. The main nave of cathedral is 121 meters long and 45 meters high. Its interior is decorated with 13 pillars. The light reaches the interior through 87 windows and 7 beautiful rosettes. The largest of them has an area of 97 square meters, which makes it the second largest Gothic rosette in the world. Thanks to the rosettes and stained glass windows, colorful, multicolored light flows into the interior, creating an amazing effect. Above the stone altar is an iron canopy designed by Antoni Gaudi. It symbolized the crown of thorns and once aroused much controversy. There are a total of 14 chapels in 2 aisles. One of them, in 2001, was decorated by a local artist, Michele Barcelo, with a ceramic mural. The other chapels include the Corpus Christi Chapel, representing the Last Supper, Chapel of the Deposition of Christ, and the beautiful Chapel of Our Lady of the Crown. It must be remembered that the cathedral is still a place of worship, and services are held here regularly. Right next to cathedral there is a royal palace. Formerly the seat of kings, now the seat of island parliament and military authorities, and the place where the Spanish royal family stays while on the island. The building was brought by Muslims, but after the Spanish took over the reign, the palace was rebuilt in the Gothic style. Some elements typical of Muslim architecture, such as arches on the facade, have been preserved. We start our tour from the courtyard, in the middle of which there is a small fountain with a lion surrounded by palm trees. From the courtyard there is a direct entrance to the 14th century royal chapel, the Chapel of St. Anna. The room seems quite austere, considering the palace it is in. The attention is drawn mainly to colorful stained glass windows, a simple altar, and unusual velour seats instead of benches. A separate entrance from the courtyard leads to the part of the palace intended to visiting by tourists. Inside, we can see austere interiors made of exposed stone blocks. On the walls, there are portraits of former rulers and tapestries of impressive size depicting former heroes or battle scenes, all surrounded by former ideas about exotic animals. One of the first rooms is the council hall. The last room on the ground floor is the officers' wardroom, with a huge wooden table in the center. Every room is decorated with old paintings. The first floor is royal offices, full of antique, richly decorated furniture and carpets. The walls are decorated with tapestries and paintings. There are also plenty of everyday items in the rooms. One of the historical events have taken place in this room was the surrender of the Muslim emir to James I in 1229. The largest room on the first floor is the main hall, the room for official receptions. Each room leads to the terrace overlooking the sea. After visiting the cathedral and the royal palace, it's worth going down the stairs and heading towards the sea. If you want to rest in the shade of trees, head towards the park and the Esfoner sculpture. While in this place, it's worth seeing the Lotia building. It is the site of the former stock and trade exchange. From the outside, The facade is decorated with gargoyles, while the interior of the building is decorated with columns built in the shape of palm trees, and the whole thing resembles a palm forest. Now, let's head to the La Reina Square, where we find a magnificent fountain in the middle of the roundabout. And a bit further, the monument designed by Juan Miro. Then, let's go to the upstairs and wander the maze of narrow streets. Maybe we will come across a beautiful Canconberla townhouse with a traditional pastry shop on the ground floor. Going further, you will find quite impressive buildings of the Balearic Parliament, or the City Hall in Palma Square, whose facade represents the Baroque style. In this building, the Enfiguera clock attracts attention, and at the top there are ornate turrets and gargoyles gazing at passersby. There are also many churches in the old town. Closest to the town hall is the Església de Santa Euleria, built on the site of the mosque. And a bit further is the Basilica of St. Francesc, which also houses the Franciscan monastery. The facade of the church was destroyed by lightning in 5080 and then rebuilt, and its appearance has not changed to this day. After visiting the basilica, we are closest to the Arab Baths. Let us remember that the history of Majorca is a years of clash between European and Muslim cultures. Arab Baths are one of the few monuments of Muslim culture in the entire Balearic Islands. The facility was modeled on Roman thermal baths. In the middle of the facility, you will find a hot and cold room. There is also a flower garden in the shade of which you can relax from the heat of the city. Even local cats will find a moment to respite here. Let us return from the Arab Baths to the vicinity of the cathedral. This time, however, you have to go through the Parc de la Mar, which separates the cathedral from the sea. The park is characterized by an artificial lake, in the middle of which there is a fountain. Going further, we come to the gardens of Sort del Rey, where we have been before, but now, passing through the gardens, we will come to Passeig del Born. Along the street, luxury brands have their boutiques, while the pedestrian area is lined with tables from the nearby cafes. This place is teeming with life from the morning, assisted with local musicians and artists. At the end of the passage, on the left, there is a building to which we are heading. Casal Soyeric is an old historic home of a merchant family. Nowadays, there is a cultural center and a modern art gallery. There is a different exhibition on each floor. What is worth seeing is a beautiful decorated patio, typical of local buildings built for wealthy Majorcan families. The huge stairs leading to one of the exhibitions attracting attention. At the very entrance, we see a huge loudspeaker, consisting of several smaller ones. Moving on, we can admire the dancing plant and stylized interior with peculiar collections and a large dollhouse. It should be noted here that the exhibitions are periodic and change from time to time. After seeing the works of art, it's worth going to Plaza del Mercat, to the famous Forn d'Esteatra bakery. They serve delicious traditional Spanish pastries, both sweet, such as ensaimada, and savory, such as empanadas. While eating empanadas, it is worth looking around. Right in front of the bakery, there is a Caixa Forum building, built in the style of Catalan modernism. The first hotel on the island was located here. The main square of the old town is only a few steps away from Plaza del Mercat. Plaza Mayor is surrounded on all sides by buildings with characteristic green shutters. In the square, you will find cafes with tables under umbrellas and stores with souvenirs. Right next to the square, there is an unusual tenement house, Can Fortesa Rey. Looking at the facade of this building, you can wonder if it not was designed by Antonio Gaudí himself. The building is decorated with mosaics of cut glass and ceramics. After seeing the tenement house, let's go to the Spanish Square to end our trip under the monument towering over the finger. Directly from the square, we can go to Estacio Intermodal, or, if we are staying here overnight, we can sit in one of the restaurants and enjoy the Spanish evening. I hope you liked this video. If so, you can leave a thumb up. If you have any suggestions, please write a comment down below. See you on the next adventure.